To share with you my experience with the insomnia. Notice how he said the insomnia and not my insomnia, because it wasn't mine. It was just a signal that my body was giving me because it felt unsafe. Though, if you were to ask me, what did I do to be able to overcome the insomnia, or what did I do to be able to go to sleep, I would tell you that I did a plethora of things and they didn't work. You see, because when you ask someone that has a regulated nervous system, what do they do to go asleep? You know what they'll say? Well, I just close my eyes. There could be loud noises, bright lights, and this person could go asleep because their nervous system feels safe and protected. Hear this really clear. As somebody that struggled with the insomnia for, I would say, the majority of my life. Yeah. So I've become an expert on how not to sleep. There's nothing that you could do to fall asleep when you are in the throes of the insomnia. And there are companies and there are industries that make a lot of money on people that have problems with going to sleep. But there's actually nothing that could be done. Because if you ask someone that has a regulated nervous system, what do you do to go to sleep? You know what they'll say? Well, I'll just close my eyes and I just drift away. Because it's a normal function. Just like we breathe, just like our heart beats, is sleep. I want you to feel hopeless. But what I want you to understand is that there's good reason why your nervous system or why your brain has you alert, even though you are so tired and fatigued after several days of sleeping just probably 2-3 hours, or sometimes like me, 0 hours. That's because if you were in a real life physical threat, you think it's time to go asleep? Actually, your brain is protecting you. It's keeping you up because it senses a threat to your survival. What is playing in your mind and what's happening in your environment that's causing your brain to have a hyper awareness to keep you protected? Because that's the key. That's the key. Reframing that. That might seem easier said than done. But actually, it is easier said than done. Because, you see, once you figure out what that trigger is, then you could see what is a thought playing behind your mind. For me, it's like, I will never be able to sleep again. What is wrong with me? I am broken. Something is definitely wrong with me. Am I ever going to go asleep? And my fear was having to take sleeping pills because I had a trauma of taking sleeping pills and so many medications to help me sleep and take away the anxiety and panic attacks that I had. Number 3, what is the emotion that this thought is causing? And what is it causing in my body to feel? And how do I respond to that? Taking sleeping pills, rubbing lavender all over me, drinking all kinds of teas. Once you see your loop, the structure of how this all happens, how you do not sleeping, then it becomes less chaotic and more mechanical. Then you could be aware of where you want to interrupt it. Where does it escalate? For me, it would escalate after the thought, thinking that I would have to take these medications for the rest of my life, or thinking that I had to take medication that made me feel so sick, or thinking that the next day how was I going to function with 2 littles, homeschooling, alone because my husband traveled. Those thoughts created an emotion. What was the emotion? Fear, frustration, anger. And what would that cause in my body? It would cause adrenaline to shoot through my body, where I was just like always on edge. And how would I respond? By trying to fix my sleep. I'm going to share something that I did that helped me overcome the insomnia. The moment I would get activated or triggered was at nighttime when everyone was going to sleep, and I knew that the moment I hit my head in the pillow, I would not go to sleep. The thought that would play in my head would be like, oh my gosh, one more night. That was the thought. The emotion was fear. And what did I feel in my body? I started to feel my heart beat. I started to feel just very anxiety. And what would I do? I would get some lavender, drink some tea, do all those rituals that you hear that to do, take magnesium, whatever. And it didn't work. And I was just playing that loop over and over again. So I broke that. So the thought that I said is, oh, this is my body activated. My brain is trying to protect me. Right there, I broke that loop. And I would do that over and over again until eventually I just started to just go to sleep. If you struggle with the insomnia, don't try to do any type of rituals. First, work on what's causing the threat. And if you need help in trying to figure out what that threat is or your triggers, then go ahead and check out Renewed Mind Method. And I would love to work with you and try to figure out how we can interrupt those triggers, thoughts, emotions, sensations. Before you know it, you'll be having sweet, sweet dreams.